Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Suburban Proletarian for the third and final Christmas unboxing of the year 2019. It's actually liable to be the last video of 2019 because I definitely won't get it posted until at least tomorrow, maybe New Year's Eve. So I'd like to wish each and every one of you a very happy new year. I'm really looking forward to 2020. I'm actually looking forward to the 2020s. I think a lot of good things are going to be coming here on the channel in the next 10 years. So I certainly have high hopes anyway. The watch we're going to be taking a look at today, I'm sure you've all read the title down below, is of course the Bulova Lunar Pilot. Most of you are probably very familiar with this watch. That's probably why you're watching this video. But it's a well-known fact that the Omega Speedmaster was the official moonwatch. It was the only official issue watch of NASA for a great many years. Bulova did compete for that contract unsuccessfully, although they actually supplied a lot of other timing devices and things to NASA. Many of the chronometers inside the lunar capsule were actually Bulova Accutron timers, but they didn't manage to get the moonwatch contract, but they did manage to get one watch on the moon, on the wrist of Dave Scott, who was the commander of Apollo 15, when his Omega Speedmaster supposedly failed. The crystal popped off during his second EVA. He wore the Bulova moonwatch, which Bulova had gifted to him. It was his own personal watch on the third EVA on the lunar surface in 1971. And this watch is, as you will soon see, an authentic replica thereof. So I'm sure you've heard me talk long enough. This is not meant to be a review, rather an unboxing. So let's go over on the tabletop and take a look at this watch. All right, guys, so here is the Bulova Lunar Pilot. And I've been thinking a lot about this watch pretty much ever since it came out 5 years ago. I've done a lot of research. I've done a lot of reading. I imagine my full-length review of this watch is going to be pretty detailed. So I'm going to try my very best to avoid going into too much detail here and just stick to the unboxing. As you can see, as is the case with any unboxing, it's in a box, which is marked Bulova, and this is the outer box. Nothing too fancy there. We'll set that off to the side. The actual watch box is inside. Nothing else, just a cardboard box. And this box is pretty nice. It's made from some sort of hard, substantial material. Let's lift the lid to reveal the watch. And there it is, the Bulova Lunar Pilot. So this tray, I think, just lifts out with these little satin ribbons. And we'll lift that out of the way for the moment and just set that over here. And let's see what else is in the box. So here's a card which just gives you a little bit of propaganda about the watch. And there it is, authentic replica. Interestingly enough, this is the second aviation or aerospace themed replica chronograph that I'm doing in 2 consecutive reviews. Of course, the 1963 Seagull Chinese Air Force chronograph that I unboxed last was also an authentic replica made by its original manufacturer, and this is in the same light, although you'll see, especially when I do the reviews, these are 2 very, very different watches. So anyway, that's your certificate of authenticity card. There's a little Bulova booklet in here. Is this a manual? No, this is some more propaganda. This is more mostly history of the original Bulova moonwatch. So yeah, I'll look forward to reading that. That should be interesting. And we've got another book in here, and this is just very, very basic instructions. It's very thin. Setting instructions and warranty information. Warranty card, I should probably fill that out. I didn't get this watch to sell. This is going to be my watch. I'm intending to keep it. Anything else in here? I don't know what that ribbon is for. Oh, I guess that's to release all of this other stuff, if one should need to do so. So we'll just put that out of the way as well for the moment. And now we will get down to the nitty-gritty. And that, of course, is the watch, which is held into this liner tray on a little pillow. So you can set that out of the way. And we can set this little filler piece out of the way as well. And here's the watch. So let's do the grand reveal. I have yet to peel the plastic off of the sapphire crystal on this watch. And wow, look at that. Very, very nice. All of the hands appear to be properly aligned. That's nice. We've got a little Bulova dongle here with a model number on there. And the watch is mounted on a leather NATO-esque type strap. Oh, and we've got a battery saver in here. Pull that out. Push the crown in, and that should start the seconds hand moving. And it did. And the cool thing about this as a quartz watch, it doesn't have a smoothly sweeping hand like some of the Bulova Accutrons did. But thanks to its high rate of oscillation, 262 kilohertz, you can see there, they do have the second hand moving at 2 hertz. So rather than that jarring tick, 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 you get a tick, 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 tick. It's a little bit more, I don't know, it's a little bit smoother, a little bit more interesting. Now, when the Bulova Lunar Pilot came out in 2015, it did have a bead-blasted stainless steel case, which was very similar to the original Bulova Moonwatch, but it had a newer Bulova logo on the dial, and it had a date window appearing right here between the 4 and 5 positions. And a lot of people complained about that. So when this second generation came out, and the first generation, by the way, is still in production, but the second generation came out in 2017. They removed the date window, which I could take it or leave it. That's not a big deal. But the one deal breaker for me with the original Bulova Lunar Pilot was the new Bulova logo, and I'm really pleased that they went back to this 1960s style Bulova logo. I mean, this dial is just amazing when I look at it. The Omega Speedmaster is, of course, quite amazing also, but this thing really looks, it just looks like 1960s. It looks like NASA. It looks like if you took this tall cylindrical bezel and tall cylindrical sapphire crystal and plucked them off of the watch case and plonked them onto the instrument cluster in a 1960s space capsule from NASA, it would look totally in place. It just looks like something from the 1960s. Really beautifully done. Now, unfortunately, when this new one came out, they didn't have the bead-blasted stainless steel case available. They put the newer dial on, but you had a choice of either a highly polished stainless steel case, which I really thought looked awful, very, very, very shiny, or this bead blasted stainless steel case, which has now been black PVD coated. And although none of the original Bulova moonwatches were black, I think it's really very much in keeping with the design. It looks great. I'm very happy with it. It's not authentic, it doesn't look original, but it does look appropriate. I could see a watch very much like this having been strapped on the wrist of a NASA astronaut back in the late 60s or early 70s. Let's take off this NATO strap and take a closer look at the watch case itself. Well, we can't take the NATO strap off because it's not a NATO strap. Turns out it has sort of regular straps with just a NATO style keeper on the back. But anyway, here's the case back. We'll peel the plastic. Well, first of all, what does the plastic say? It says Japan Movement, which makes sense. Bulova is a wholly owned subsidiary of Citizen Watch now, I believe. And China Band, that also makes sense. The Chinese are making a lot of leather goods. And this is very nice, supple leather band. That kind of leaves in question where the balance of the watch is made. I would guess probably China. I don't believe, Bulova does still have its corporate headquarters in New York, but I'm pretty sure they don't have any production facilities left in the United States. Anyway, we'll peel that off. And the case back has a nice legend of that third EVA during Apollo 15, in which Dave Scott wore the watch. That's very nicely executed. I'm very impressed overall with the look of the watch. It's beautifully machined. I don't see any machine marks in evidence. I mean, this is very, very nicely done. And other than the fact that it has a quartz movement in it, it kind of begs the question as to why the Omega Speedmaster moonwatch costs 100 times, no, I'm sorry, not 100 times as much, 10 times as much as this watch. You could buy 10 of these for the price of one Omega Speedmaster Professional moonwatch. So I imagine this is probably getting a little bit long, so let's just take a quick look at the function of the watch. It is a standard 2-pusher chronograph. You've got the small seconds hand, which is the seconds as relates to the current time. You've got a top pusher here, which will set the main chronograph second hand in motion. This smaller hand is counting tenths, or more accurately 20ths of a second. I think it'll stop even on these little interstitial marks here. Now that'll only run for 30 seconds. You'll see that when the second hand gets to 30 seconds, the 10th of a second hand will stop. And the second hand continues to run. But the counter that this hand indicates is still running in the background. When I stop the chronograph hand, the 20th of a second hand will move to show you exactly how many tenths or 20ths of a second elapsed beyond the last indicated second. And as soon as I start it again, it will, the 20th of a second hand will run for another 30 seconds, apparently. It's nice. This is not exactly a mecha quartz movement, but thanks to the very high rate of oscillation, the chronograph second hand sweeps in a nice, smooth fashion. There's a little bit of ticking there. This subdial is a 60-minute subdial, so it'll count up to an hour. Whereas our Seagull chronograph we were looking at yesterday was a 30-minute chronograph This is a 60-minute chronograph. We stop, hit reset. All of the hands will reset to their original positions. Nice and smooth. So I don't want to go into too much more detail here. I don't want this to get too long. And so I'm going to cut this unboxing short right here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you know the drill. Please like, subscribe, click the bell icon, share, tell your friends. And when I post new content to the channel, I hope to see each of you here then. Later, guys.